Welcome to Healthy Future Vision Channel. Happy to share with you. Have you ever woken up in the morning and the first thing you feel isn't the sunrise but the sound of your joints creaking? I've met hundreds, maybe even thousands, of patients like that, and honestly, most of them aren't hurting because they're old. They're hurting because of silent inflammation, something quiet, persistent, and slowly weaving its way through every knee, every finger, and yes, even every meal we eat. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael, 60 years old, a specialist in nutrition and natural joint recovery. After more than 3 decades of working with people over 50, I've learned one simple truth. There's no such thing as a weak body, only a body that hasn't been properly nourished. Many people believe that joint pain is just a matter of time, of aging, of worn down bones and cartilage. But what I've discovered through hundreds of studies and thousands of patients is this. Joints don't deteriorate because of age. They deteriorate because of how we feed them. When we're young, we eat in a hurry, sleep too little, work too much. By the time we hit 50, our body starts sending signals, and we dismiss them saying, it's just part of getting older. Then one day the knees refuse to stand, the fingers lose their grace, and the back stiffens like wood. And that's when we're told to take another pill, get another injection, or try some light exercise. But has anyone ever told you that the very food on your plate could be your medicine or your poison? I remember a patient named Margaret, 67 years old, who once told me, "Doctor, I don't even dare go out to my garden anymore. Just bending down to pull weeds brings me to tears." Her words stopped me, not because I didn't have advice, but because I understood her fear, the fear of losing control over your own body. So I helped Margaret change her diet. Nothing extreme, just a few simple foods. Chickpeas, tofu, lentils, and quinoa. A few weeks later, she called me, her voice trembling with emotion. "I can go back to my garden again. My knees are still a bit stiff, but I'm not afraid anymore." That wasn't a miracle. That was science meeting nature. The quiet power of plant-based foods, where protein, fiber, and minerals don't just nourish your muscles, they heal your joints. I'm not here to preach about going vegan or diet trends. What I want is for you to understand something deeper. There are certain foods created by nature that help your body repair itself, reducing swelling, calming inflammation, and rebuilding cartilage without a single pill. In the next part of this video, I'll show you 4 plant-based proteins that have been proven to soothe inflammation, restore cartilage, and naturally balance your hormones. The very elements that help your body grow older without growing weaker. This isn't a quick list of superfoods. It's a journey, a way to rebuild the foundation of your health, one meal, one small choice at a time. And if you're 55, 60, or even 70 years old, I want you to know something. Your body is still trying to heal. It just needs to be heard. Don't give up because of your aching knees. Don't believe that aging is a sentence, because science and nature are still on your side. And today, I want to help you begin that journey again. Not with medication, but with real food. When I was a young doctor, I used to believe the most important part of treating arthritis was medication. The right drugs, the perfect treatment plan, and precise injections into every swollen joint. But after 30 years in practice, I've realized something beautifully simple. Joints don't just need pain relief, they need nourishment. And to truly nourish them, we have to start at the root, with what goes into our bodies every single day. So today I want to share with you 4 plant-based proteins, 4 quiet teachers of healing that have helped thousands of my patients restore their joint health naturally, gently, and effectively. One, chickpeas, the companion of cartilage and hormones. Chickpeas may look humble, but they carry a treasure within. Most people know them from hummus or salads, but few realize that chickpeas are rich in manganese, an essential mineral that activates prolidase, an enzyme responsible for producing collagen, the very substance that cushions and protects our joints. When collagen begins to rebuild, the knees, wrists, and shoulders gradually regain the flexibility they've lost over the years. One of my patients, George, age 72, used to spend nearly 20 minutes each morning just trying to wake up his knees before he could get out of bed. When I asked what he ate for breakfast, he said, white toast, black coffee, and deli meat. A simple meal, but full of fuel for inflammation. I suggested a small change. Swap the deli meat for a chickpea salad, drizzle on some olive oil, and add a few slices of avocado. 6 weeks later, he told me, I still have some pain, but I'm no longer stiff. I can walk into my garden 10 minutes earlier without my cane. That may sound small, but to me, that's a quiet miracle. Beyond protein and minerals, chickpeas also contain vitamin B6, which helps lower homocysteine, a compound that promotes inflammation in the body. When homocysteine levels drop, cartilage stops breaking down so quickly, and joints finally get the chance to repair themselves. And for postmenopausal women, who make up more than 60% of all arthritis patients, chickpeas offer another gift: natural phytoestrogens. These gentle plant compounds help balance hormones, preserve bone density, and support lean muscle, all without synthetic hormone therapy. Doctor's tip: add half a cup of cooked chickpeas to your salad or roast them with turmeric and garlic, two of nature's strongest anti-inflammatory ingredients, for a delicious healing snack. 2. Tofu, the immune system's natural soother. Whenever I mention tofu to my older American patients, they usually laugh and say, "Doctor, that's vegetarian food." I always smile and reply, "No, that's food for people who love their joints." Tofu is what we call a complete protein, meaning it provides all 9 essential amino acids your body needs to rebuild muscles, cartilage, and connective tissue. But its real power lies in a special plant compound called genistein, an isoflavone found in soy. In 2021, the journal Osteoarthritis and Cartilage published a study showing that genistein can reduce IL-6, one of the most damaging inflammatory cytokines in arthritic joints. Let me tell you about Daniel, a 68-year-old former physical education teacher who could no longer hold a tennis racket because of his painful fingers. I gave him one simple rule: eat tofu 4 times a week. Cook it any way you like. Just be consistent. 3 weeks later, Daniel called me and said, "My fingers are still stiff, but they're no longer swollen. I can tie my shoes again without asking my daughter for help." That wasn't magic. That was the law of natural recovery. When the body receives the right nutrients, it knows how to heal itself. Beyond its protein content, tofu also provides calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, all vital for strengthening bones and relaxing the muscles that support your joints. For older adults, magnesium deficiency is especially common, and it's one of the main reasons muscles tighten, pulling on the joints and causing that dull, chronic ache so many live with. Doctor's tip: choose tofu made with calcium sulfate and cook it with green vegetables like spinach or broccoli. This combination boosts calcium absorption and helps lower the acid levels that trigger inflammation in the blood. 3. Lentils, the fuel of patience. If chickpeas build the foundation and tofu soothes the system, then lentils are the fuel for recovery. They're not fancy or expensive, but they nourish the joints in the most steady, lasting way. Lentils are rich in plant-based protein, providing the amino acids your body needs to make collagen and elastin, 2 key proteins that keep cartilage flexible and resilient. What makes lentils truly special is that they contain no saturated fat, which means they rebuild tissue without feeding inflammation. Lentils are also packed with magnesium, potassium, iron, and folate, 4 nutrients that most people over 60 simply don't get enough of. Magnesium relaxes the muscles that surround and protect the joints. Potassium helps flush out excess sodium, reducing swelling in the knees, fingers, and ankles. Iron improves oxygen flow to joint tissues, speeding up repair. Folate supports the regeneration of new cartilage cells. I'll never forget Susan, a 73-year-old woman who told me, "Doctor, I can't knit for my grandchildren anymore. My hands are too swollen." I advised her gently, "Make lentil soup 3 times a week. Add carrots, onions, and a touch of turmeric." A month later, she returned, smiling, "Doctor, I can knit again." My hands still get tired, but they're not swollen anymore. That's what I call healing from the inside out. And there's more. Lentils are rich in soluble fiber, which helps sweep the intestines clean, removing inflammatory toxins before they can travel to the joints. A 2020 study published in Nutrients found that diets high in soluble fiber significantly lowered C-reactive protein, CRP, a major marker of chronic inflammation linked to arthritis. Doctor's tip: if you tend to get bloated after eating beans, soak your lentils overnight with a few slices of fresh ginger. Ginger not only aids digestion, but also enhances the lentil's natural anti-inflammatory benefits. 4. The bridge between plant power and strength. Finally, let's talk about quinoa, a seed often labeled a supergrain. To me, quinoa is more than that. It's a gift for those who want to stay strong without giving up the joy of good food. Unlike rice or wheat, quinoa is a complete protein, containing all 9 essential amino acids. It's also rich in plant-based omega-3s, flavonoids, and magnesium. Together, these compounds help reduce oxidative stress, one of the leading causes of cartilage breakdown in premature joint aging. While quinoa doesn't have as much omega-3 as fish, it provides enough to cool inflammation and restore a healthy balance between omega-6 and omega-3, something most Americans desperately need. Even better, quinoa has a low glycemic index, meaning it stabilizes blood sugar and reduces inflammatory reactions caused by insulin spikes. This is crucial because arthritis and diabetes are deeply connected. The more your blood sugar fluctuates, the more your joints tend to ache and swell. Doctor's tip: swap quinoa for white rice 3 or 4 times a week. Cook it with vegetables or use it as a base for a chickpea salad. A delicious way to double up on protein and dramatically lower inflammation. The golden principles for naturally healthy joints: 1. Balance, not extremes. You don't have to go fully vegan. Think simply. If every meal includes just one healing plant-based food, that's enough. 2. Consistency, not perfection. Your body craves stability, not rigidity. If you can eat clean 70% of the time, let the other 30% be for joy. 3. Reduce inflammation before adding nutrition. If you're still using deep-fried oils, eating processed meats, or relying on refined grains, no amount of beans or greens will help your body truly heal. 4. Heal your gut because your joints depend on it. Remember, joint inflammation often begins in the gut. When your digestion is calm and clean, your joints start to follow. 5. Listen to your body. We're all different. If tofu makes you feel lighter, that's your body saying yes. If lentils make you bloated, eat a smaller portion and add a bit of ginger. I've seen so many people in their 60s and 70s who have tried everything: collagen powders, glucosamine tablets, expensive supplements, and still felt disappointed. But when they shifted their focus to real food, something remarkable happened. What they gained wasn't just less pain, it was a body that started listening again. You don't need a miracle. You just need to give your body time and the raw materials nature already created to heal you. When I was young, my father used to tell me, people don't grow old in a day. They grow old the moment they stop believing their body can recover. 30 years later, as a doctor, I finally understand how true that is. I've met countless patients who walk into my office with tired eyes, not only from pain, but from the belief that they're past their prime, that their body can no longer improve. But then, just a few weeks after making small changes, cutting back on processed meats, switching from frying oil to olive oil, adding chickpeas, tofu, lentils, or quinoa to their meals, something beautiful happens. They begin to smile again. Not because the pain disappears overnight, but because they can feel their body responding. A morning with less stiffness, a walk through the garden without fear, fingers that can once again hold a favorite book. That is the real miracle. I want you to remember this. Healing doesn't come from a pill. It comes from your daily choices. You don't need to change everything. Just start small. Half a cup of chickpeas added to a salad, a bowl of warm lentil soup instead of sugary cereal, a drizzle of olive oil instead of a bottle of vegetable oil. These may seem like small acts, but repeated over time, they create extraordinary change. Because even at 60 or 70, your body is still a living system, one that can relearn how to heal if only you give it the chance. As a doctor, I can prescribe medicine. But as a man who's lived through 60 years himself, I want to tell you this, sincerely. Look at every meal as a conversation with your body. Every time you choose something healing, you're saying to it, I still believe in you. If you're watching this video and feeling tired or discouraged, I hope you know, joint pain isn't a full stop. It's a comma. It's where your next chapter begins, one of understanding, awareness, and patience. Let these humble little beings remind you, healing doesn't need to be loud. It happens quietly, steadily, through each meal, each breath, each act of faith in yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this message touched you, please share it with someone who might need a little hope. Because maybe, just maybe, your healing today will be the beginning of someone else's tomorrow.